You're welcome back. You're still watching Simply Showbiz right here on TV3, your weekly panditry show. Thank you so much for staying on. I mentioned earlier that when I come back from the break, I'll introduce my guest. Now, joining me to have the conversation about the royalty situation in Ghana is Rex Omar. He's a chairman, Gamro's interim board. And then we also have Ola Michael. He's a movie producer and he's a showbiz critic. Also is Sammy Flex, a showbiz analyst and CEO of Sammy Flex TV. Good morning, guys. You're welcome.
Good morning. Akofa.
How are you doing?
Yesterday you gave someone a trouble.
I did not. I remember you brought this thing up.
You did. As it stands now, the guy is still solving his problems because of a question Akofa asked Blacko.
Well, he did. He was supposed to be truthful at the end of the day. I asked a genuine question. Who are your investors? And he mentioned certain names, and it seems it sparked some conversation somewhere.
Maybe next time don't ask.
I know. I cannot sit here and not ask questions. But anyway, so the Ghana Music Rights Organization, GAMRO, was established under Section 49 of the Copyright Law Act 690 of 2005 and regulated under LI 1962 of 2010 to collect and distribute royalties on behalf of authors, composers, and other right owners. Now, I will start with you, Mr. Rex Omar. What is the state of GAMRO at the moment?
GAMRO is a project in progress. That's what I would say because, collective management did not start from GAMRO. It started with COSGAP, which was a quasi-government organization being handled by civil servants. It got to a point, some of us and some other guys advocated that no, copyright is an individual right, so we don't understand why we should leave it in the hands of government. And those days too, it was like all the copyrighted stuff were put together, both literally visuals and audiovisuals were put together to be administered. So we advocated that the law be changed so that it can be specific. So for now, the new law that came that you mentioned established 3 different CMOs. Ghana Music Rights Organization, which is GAMRO, Ghana Audiovisual Rights Organization, which is ASOG, and Ghana Reprographic Rights Society, which is Copy Ghana. So these 3 collective management organizations deal with specific aspects of copyright.
Okay.
Now we come to GAMRO. GAMRO deals with music.
Music.
First and foremost, when people are saying royalties, 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 let us be clear. When you put your music on YouTube, YouTube deals with you direct. YouTube or any of these Boomplay and any of these digital platforms, they are like digital music or record shops.
Okay.
When you go and put your music there, they pay you, the record label. If you, the artist, produced it yourself, they pay you directly. That has nothing to do with GAMRO. What GAMRO does is there's something, let's say that we call mechanical royalties. And what mechanical royalty means that if music is reproduced, anytime it's mechanically reproduced, there's a small amount of money that is collected by the collective management and give the money to the publisher and the composer.
Okay.
So we have to be clear on that aspect. GAMRO as an organization deals with performing rights, enabling rights, and synchronization rights. So it's not all royalties that comes to GAMRO.
Okay.
It's not every royalty. People create impression that, oh, I'm a musician. All my money that I'm supposed to get come from GAMRO, and GAMRO is not paying me. It's wrong. It's erroneous. That is impression Ghanaian musicians have created. So he goes and do his music business, do it haphazardly, no feasibility studies, nothing. He just jump into the field, and when he hits the wall and is depressed, is struggling, then it's time to lambast GAMRO.
That's some good education there. But let's also take a quick look at, your role, in GAMRO at the moment. I think I was asking earlier, are you still the chairman of GAMRO?
Honestly, I don't know how to call myself. I used to be the chairman. I was elected for 4 years. So I served my 4 years. I handed over. And the election committee couldn't organize the election within the stipulated time.
Which was 40 days.
No, according to the GAMRO constitution, 90 days before the end of the expiration, you set up election committee.
Okay.
In fact, I set it up 150 days before my time in life, expiration my time. And then they couldn't do it. I handed over.
I see.
So there was a vacuum, and it was creating a problem. So Gamro organized immediate emergency General Assembly in Kumasi. We went. So they asked the election committee why couldn't they organize the election. And after the explanation, I think the General Assembly wasn't happy with it.
Okay.
So they terminated the election committee, set up an interim committee to oversee Gamro till elections are done.
Right.
And the 5 people they selected, I was one of the people.
Okay.
And then they asked the 5 people to go and select their own leader. So the 5 people met and they asked me to lead. So that's how come I'm still with Gamro. Now, we were given 40 days to do election. In fact, we wanted to finish it within 20 days. Just for some Gamro members to put injunction on the election. So they injuncted it first time. We went to court. Court threw it away. They injuncted it again. We went to court. Court has thrown it again, throw it out again. So now we're supposed to do election on the 15th. And based on company's code, 15th of March.
Okay.
We hope this time they will not injunct it again. But based on company's code, no company must run without a minimum of 5 directors. So now I'm there as a director, overseeing with other 5 or 4 people, overseeing Gamro till elections are done. So when you ask me my position, I don't know. I don't want to be called a chairman of Gamro.
Okay.
I don't also want to be called a director or whatever. I don't know.
So
right now I would say an interim chair.
Okay.
Because I'm still doing the work of a chairman. I'm still doing the work of a board and everything. But because I have not been elected through ballot, I cannot call myself a chairman of Gamro or something like that. But for example, this royalties that was distributed or whatever, if we weren't there was no way royalty could have been distributed because the administration or the management needs approval from the directors before they can do most of the things. So if we weren't there, Gamro will not run.
Okay, let me come to you, Sammy, on this one. So there's been conversation about Gamro over the period, like it's a back and forth conversation, never ending. Now you find musicians coming out always to voice out the fact that they believe that they are not being fairly treated or their royalties are not enough. Now, as someone in the Rex, I don't like this smile, but anyways, you being in the industry, what do you think the problem has been when it comes to Gamro?
To me, I think there is no problem. The only problem I see is education. Most of the members or people who are supposed to be members of Gamro, and here I'm talking about bona fide members of Gamro, they don't have really...
Wait.
We need to
I think there's no problem. The only problem I see is education. Then there's a problem.
No, wait.
Yes.
No, this is not a big deal for them. It shouldn't be a big deal for them. That's why I said that I don't see any problem.
Okay.
It is just a matter of the guys that, okay, today I want to be a musician. Because I want to be a musician, I have to go through the process. Know that when I have my song, I should put it here, register it there, and there shouldn't be any problem with this. Yesterday I was so happy I met a guy. His name is Andy. And he has recorded his song. He has his video ready. Someone told him, oh, go to Sammy Flex, go and get education on how to start.
Oh, okay.
Then I told him, oh, go here, get someone to put your songs on the streaming platforms. Go to Gamro, register. If everyone can start like this, where would the problem come from?
No, would you then? Let me come to you along this one. When it comes to education, you know, amongst our musicians, what is the problem? Because if you want to be in this space, you should be informed. You understand? So we have some. I don't think a lot of them even know they have to register with Gamro.
Exactly.
And as why are you nodding? So as an industry person, what do you think has been the problem when it comes to Gamro?
To me, I think there's no problem.
Oh, don't do
No,
that.
man. That's my brother from a long time. But you know, the challenge we have is that most people, like Ankara said, are so fixated on the production of the song. Like they have to be out there, they have to be known, their songs have to be out there. They don't really care about what they should go to, like Sammy is showing somebody before they get there. Now, the situation we have is, somebody says I'm a musician, he goes into a studio, he records something, he puts it out on social media, TikTokers, whoever, makes it a hit, and then that's it. He's done.
Then they expect
then he sit
money
back and wants the next step, which is maybe being on stages to be performing and being paid. They don't think about royalties.
Okay.
They don't think about all these things that probably they later on accuse Gamro for. You understand? Now take this your fine man, this Shatawale, for example, 15 years in the industry,
yes,
and you don't understand what Gamro does. That is how the whole industry has been. 15 years. You don't understand Gamro. Take that lady, the Kiki's daughter.
Yes, Vanessa Jan.
Your papa has been in the music industry for all these years, and you still don't understand royalty system. What have you been doing?
Okay.
You understand? It means that people intentionally decide not to know. And when you do workshops and invite them, they won't even come. They will not step there.
They are playing gigs.
They are playing gigs. So their whole idea has been the money, money, money. So when they realize that their bank accounts is now dwindling, then they are thinking of where else is the money coming from.
I see.
And then now they start making useless noise.
Okay. Uncle Rex, let me find out from you. So Shatawale made a tweet saying that 30,000 Ghana cedis over the period, he doesn't think it's enough. It's an insult to his career. Now, as someone who is, in this position, what was your reaction to that tweet?
First and foremost, that is 30,000 is not for 15 years.
It's not for 15 years.
I want to put that in clear.
Okay. So how many years is
Shatawale
that
has
for?
been receiving royalties. The highest he has ever gotten is, I think, 1,700 or so.
Over what period are we?
Gamro distributes every 6 months.
Okay.
So with 6 months, he was getting something like 1,200, which under normal circumstances is nothing to write home about, because nobody has said Gamro is working perfectly. It's a system that is being developed. Okay. But just suppose somebody who was getting 1,700 per distribution to getting 30,000 now.
Okay.
It tells you something
It's
is working.
right now.
Okay. So as to, Shatta, I'm one of his biggest fans. Some of the things he does, I sit and laugh, I think that he wants to use this thing to still create awareness for people who use music, to understand that if they were paying Gamro, he would have gotten better, far much more better money than he's getting now. I don't believe that his attack is necessarily on Gamro, because he knows the truth. I called him.
If he does that, don't you think he's misleading people then?
That is Shatta's way of doing things. I mean, everybody knows him. Shatawale, he's an eccentric guy. He does that, and he called me, Uncle Rex. I'm trying to help to bring awareness so that I see the people who are not paying us, and also the government should support us. See, so if you don't know who Shatawale is, and you take some of the things he does in heart, you create a problem. Shatawale knows that Gamro is doing well. If you read his tweet well, Gamro, thanks for your transparency.
Yes.
Yet he thinks that the 30,000 is not enough, which I agree with him. Honestly, if Gamro...
No, before you continue, the 30,000 for clarity's sake, how many...
Gamro distribute every 6 months. It's only last year that we couldn't distribute because of some issues. So the whole of last year, we did not distribute twice. We distributed once. And that is how he got 30,000.
Okay.
June, we will do another distribution.
Okay.
December, we do. So we distribute twice every year.
Twice every year. So would you say he's been the highest so far? So
far, not from Gamro, from Kosga, since inception of the collective management, this is the first time anybody has gotten that amount of money. Before this time, the highest money anybody has ever gotten was 3,200. And it was even Kodwenchi or Lumba, I think.
Okay.
But for the first time, somebody is getting 30,000, somebody is getting 20,000, somebody is getting 11,000, 18,000, whatever. It is something that I'm happy, because I believe that if we continue and we divert our energies onto people who are using music and are not paying, 80% of prime music users are not paying. Some of them who will pay, you have to drag them to court, and by the time you spend so much money on legal issues before they come and pay you something small. A whole national broadcaster for 7 years have not paid Gamro. So this is where I want Shatawale and Stonebwoy and all the people to divert their attention, because Gumroad only distributes what we are able to collect.
Okay.
My problem was there was no a system to help us to distribute equitably. So what the system had been was, you get 10 CDs, and because there's no system that tells you whose music was used at what time, at what duration, you distribute the money to everybody using who has a lot of albums, who joined Gumroad for blah, blah, blah. It doesn't work that way, because
But now it's different, isn't
now
it?
it's different. Now,
So what is the new system now?
Gumroad has contracted a third-party company in Ireland that is logging. Currently, we are logging 131 radio and TV stations.
Right.
So based on the logs, we call it title specific, we are using to distribute.
Okay.
We intend to increase it up to 300 radio and TV stations.
Okay.
So when the logs come, we feed the logs into a software, and the software will distribute the money pro rata. People must understand these royalties, right now we are holding a lot of money for other Ghanaian musicians who have not legally assigned their rights to Gumroad. So if Ola has written Abiba, and he has arranged Abiba, but I sang it. The fact that my name is on that album that Rexoma sang Abiba does not mean the song belongs to me. So the money that Gumroad is collecting, it doesn't belong to Rexoma, it belongs to Ola and him.
Okay.
If you don't fill the split sheet for me to know who actually owns this money, Gumroad will mistakenly give the money to Rexoma because Rexoma is popular. Meanwhile, the money doesn't belong to Rexoma. So, for example, there are so many musicians in Ghana who sing songs and become popular, but we don't have any information as to who actually owns the song. One song may be owned by 4 different people. Sometimes the copyright in the song is different from the copyright in the recorded sound. Let me be clear here. When somebody writes Dana say, da unyame na say, it's a song. The people who wrote the song, the person, it might be different from the person who did the melody. It's a music, it's a song. Somebody comes and Dana say, da unyame say. Then you put that lyrics into the melody. Then become Dana say, da unyame na say. In this case, the person who created the melody is the composer. The person who wrote the lyrics is the author. Together, they have 50-50. After this, then somebody takes them to studio to go and record. The person who spent the money for the recording, the person who did the arrangement and everything, created the beat and whatever, has a right in the song.
Now,
so you see that how complicated this whole thing is.
Very complicated.
I get that. Now, let me also find out from you, Sammy Flynn. So with what he mentioned earlier, they so far have about 131.
We are logging
about 131
in Ghana, stations in Ghana.
In stations in Ghana. Do you think then that is addressing, because I think part of the reason people were having issues with Gumroad had to do with proper logging system. Do you think with what he mentioned, it is in any way addressing that issue?
Of course, if they have software that is checking the login system, then that is the way to go. But once again, Uncle Rex mentioned right now that a whole Ghana broadcaster for the past how many years?
7
years. They have not paid. So what it means is that even for the past 7 years, they can even give them an estimate to pay if really they need this money for musicians. For the login system, that is what has been the cry of many, including those who are at the helm of affairs at Gumroad.
Okay.
So if now they have it, first of all, I don't even know how those they are logging, how they have even sat down to discuss that, okay, guys, according to our system, if your name appears here maybe a number of times, then we are expecting this amount from you. And I don't know if you guys have done that, because if they don't do that, it will come that, say, media general, the number of radio platforms or TV platforms you have. Maybe your names appeared in our system for about 10,000 times. You give them a code to pay, and there will still be issues. So beyond getting the login system, I still think there should be that conversation. They should meet stakeholders in the broadcast fraternity, sit with them that, guys, this is how we are now going to operate. Because I have been at a position where I dealt with Gumroad before. And at the time, they will give you a quota, like say a year quota. We are expecting that your platform pays this amount of money. Now that there is a login, am I still going to pay that quota they were giving me, or now they are going to calculate based on the number of
I'll need you to respond to that.
You see, I've said it over and over again. Currently, the way the Ghanaian law is, there is no law for tariffs. Be clear here. So Gamro is operating like when you are building a house and you don't yet have a meter for electricity, but you are using electricity anyway. You go to electricity company and say, give me a flat rate. So Gamro is using something that we call blanket license. We itemize the radio stations because you cannot charge a radio station in Accra that is doing so well the same amount of money, the same as to compare to some radio station which is operating in some districts. You see, so we have arranged, we have the primes and whatever, and we give them blanket license. So when we get the blanket license and we get, say, 10 cedis, we use the logs to distribute the money pro rata based on whose music was used as what much. The money you have is what you use the logs to distribute. Until we have a law that says that pay so much for every minute of music usage. You cannot go to a radio station and say, I've brought you the logs because so much time was spent or duration or time was spent playing music, you owe this much. We haven't gotten there yet.
So who's supposed to champion something like that?
Government. You see, so the whole situation is the Gamro issue. Everybody heaps the problems on Gamro, but it's not only Gamro. Some of the issues are legislative. So, for example, one of the ways that we've lost a lot of revenue is the levy. Levy, when the law was done.
Which of the levies?
Blanket levy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because the country is actually, battling another sort of...
Yes, blanket levy for music usage or for copyrighted works. When the law was done, it covers CDs, cassettes, and I think pen drives.
No,
There are no pen drives, phone chip.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, nobody brings cassette because it's obsolete. Nobody brings CDs. Yeah, and then, so the last levy that came, if we had gone for it, the 3 CMOs, nobody would have gotten even 70,000 Ghana cedis.
So, Mr. Rex, how do we begin a conversation then? Because you guys
are... The conversation is ongoing.
It's ongoing.
You see, to change a law, it takes time. For the past 4 years, there's been back and forth proposals. It's gone to Attorney General's department. They do the drafting. They'll bring it back to Copyright Office. You look at it. And so now they've added all these things, smartphones, extended hard drives, blah, 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 a whole lot of stuff, range of stuff that can record music, film, and books. So it will happen. It takes time. What I want people to understand is, even as you sit somewhere and complain, ask yourself that you yourself, have you been responsible in helping Gamro to help you?
Thank you.
Okay.
You don't just get up. Royalty doesn't rain from heaven. You have to be responsible to be able to tell Gamro that, okay, these are my songs. I've registered with you. These are blah blah blah. That's it. What it is.
Let me get this. Comment from you. A lot of people, just as he mentioned, I think he ended on the fact that are people being responsible enough? Do you think, moving forward, what not do you think per se, but what do you think people can do in order to ensure that they are paying what they're supposed to pay, so Gamro can,
When you say people, you actually refer to
the rights you, yes.
Okay, so this is it. You don't sit on a fence and expect that after cooking, you come chop some. Eat it up.
Sometimes it happens at homes. People, they leave the food
they give
to
you
be
the
prepared
leftovers
by someone else.
You give you the leftovers. When we are good, then we say, okay, kakrebi is your kodi. You understand? Now, most of these musicians, they don't want to be part of the system. They don't want to be part of the building, but they want to just talk. You want people to build for you so you can come and enjoy.
But how can we change that?
We can change that by you and I, Sammy, Uncle Rez, all saying, bros, come on board. Now, Gamro was going to have an election. I looked through all the people that were interested. I didn't see these new people. I'm like, so how long are you going to sit on the fence and expect people to build for you? They only talk.
So
Go and be part of it.
Ola, I'm not cutting you. You see, the thing that people do not understand, Rex Omar will not be at Gamro forever.
Of course.
And to run a CMO, you need a specialized knowledge to understand how it works. We are guided by laws and whatever. So if people do not come on board to understand how these things are done, our time will come. We will leave. As for the complaints, people must understand that it is show business. Show business. If you concentrate only on the show and the business aspect is not done, you will end up frustrated. So before you even go into the show, get to understand the business side of it before you do the show. But 90% of our people, they are interested in the show. When they blow finish, and then, okay, I've blown, and the business has not been done, then they start to complain.
All right, on that note, we're going for a quick break. When we come back, we'll get the conversation, get some other sides of it as well, because we want to take the reaction of Rex Omar and my panelist on Vanessa Jan's tweet earlier concerning her dad, Kiki Jan. You're still watching Simply Showbiz. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Yeah, welcome back. Still Simply Showbiz right here on TV3. Engaging with my panelists. We're getting to find out the royalty situation in Ghana. Joining me to have this conversation is Rex Omar. He is the interim chairman and director of Gamro. We also have Sammy Flex, who is a showbiz analyst. He's also the CEO of Sammy Flex TV. I've got Ola Michael as well. Sorry. Now, before we went on the break, I was I wanted us to touch on Vanessa Jan's tweet. Now, Vanessa Jan is the daughter of Kiki Jan, who was an instrumentalist, part of the Osibisa band, and a very huge band there. And she put out a tweet showing her concerns that, her dad, she hasn't received any royalties when it comes to the works that her dad has done over the period. Now, what is your reaction to that?
Now, Gamro has become a low-hanging point. So everybody points to Gamro. That's okay. Kiki Jan, I know, was a very good instrumentalist and also a composer. But what I don't know, whether he co-wrote some of the Osibisa songs. Kiki Jan did not assign to Gamro.
Okay.
Or Kosga. Kiki Jan, I know, they operated from UK, so they were members of PRS. So Vanessa sent me a WhatsApp inquiring about her father's stuff. Then I spoke to the management to check on the records. And it was clear that Teddy Osei, Mark Tonto, in their personal... You see, people must understand, copyright is not a group thing. Copyright is individual property. So
you need to make the effort.
So for example, even if he co-wrote some of the Osibisa song, he himself should have assigned his portion to be administered by Gamro. Because Gamro pays Osibisa, Maktonto.
Okay.
Gamro pays Teddy Osei, but Gamro cannot pay Osibisa, because Osibisa is a group. So if his father played a role in their composition, he has not registered with Gamro. So I told her what to do. You can go to my Gamro online and register, send us the split sheets. You can download the split sheets and fill it in and send it back to Gamro. We will look if there's any money somewhere for your father. We will bring it to you. But please check on PRS, because your father, I know, that was a member of PRS. So as I sit here, I don't have any information, and Gamro doesn't have any information on Kiki Jan.
Okay.
So, but I've showed her what to do.
What to do.
And
okay.
She went ahead to still tweet and say Gamro this. That's okay. Publicity, negative, positive. It's still publicity.
And we are here discussing.
We are here discussing it, so it's okay.
Now, a lot of people have, talked about the fact that they think you've been in office for too long. So they want to know, after 4 years, on a scale of 1 to 10, if you're rating your efforts as, handling Gamro's, affairs all this while, how would you rate yourself?
I think I don't want this to be an individual thing.
Okay.
I'm a chairman. I was a chairman with a team of people.
We want your personal thoughts. Like
My personal thoughts, I will leave it for posterity. For people who are truthful to themselves. I have been part of advocating right from Kosga up till today. Everybody who has been a member knows that we did not have any solid or sustainable welfare, which by the grace of God in our time we've done it.
We've been able to do.
Everybody knows that to set up the Gamro system to a level where now for the first time people can get these type of monies. If you ask for your statement, we can give it to you. The system is still not perfect. We are gradually going through the system to perfect it. Okay. But I will not sit here and blow my trumpet. I will leave it for posterity. But I know for sure that the way people are not actually going deep into this thing to learn about these Gamro issues, I'll stand tall.
Right, so you're offering yourself to be re-elected. What are your plans moving forward?
Our constitution says that we can go for 2 times.
Okay.
I went to Gamro specifically to fix a problem. We are just beginning to see the benefits of 4 years' work. And that is the only reason why I'm asking for re-election, so that I can help on lead to fix it to a level where now Gamro can be at par with all the CMOs that are doing well globally. You know, we are very close. You know, I don't want to leave it. I can first say it's Ejuma Yesini Nyaketua. Ejuma Yesini Nyaketua. And I want a situation where Gamro gets to a level where I can live peacefully and know that at least I've played my role. Even if today, if they don't vote for me, I know that I have done so much. For the first time, somebody is getting 30,000, 20,000. It has never happened before. And it's a beginning of good things to happen.
Now, you talked about the fact that you've been able to, work on the login system, even though it's not perfect yet. What other challenge have you noticed or you plan on working on if you're being elected?
First, education of our membership. I've come to realize that to run a very successful CMO in Africa, you first and foremost must educate the membership for them to understand, because Gamro is not an association. People think it's an association. It is not. Gamro is a serious business concern. So people must understand the membership must have their responsibilities and must understand the implications and what Gamro is. That is one thing I want to do. Secondly, I want to make sure that we fight to get right legislation and also to be able to help or divert the energies of the membership onto the music users who are not paying yet give their platforms to the same ignoramus members to lambast Gamro. So, for example, I'm sitting here.
Excuse me.
And I can tell you for a fact that you are still owing us. This station is owing Gamro. Yet, they will be the first person. Oh, so why is Gamro not paying? GBC is owing us. For 7 years, they are not paying. We are in court with them. And I'm praying that we win the case, which I know we will win. And sell their property to set an example. We went to court 4 years ago with all the 3 telcos. We've won the case. It has never happened for any CMO in Africa. We've won the case. All these things, it takes time. Now, court says all the telcos, the color ringtones and blah, 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 they should give us 10% of the money they get. It has never happened before, but what do we hear? We hear the negative aspect. Oh, Gamro is this, Gamro is that. But the positives.
Will you be willing to sell property of GBC to offset?
Of course.
And TV3 too.
Of course. And TV3 too. Because you see.
You guys are on my TV station.
You see, the whole situation is music is not for free. It's other people's property, intellectual property.
Yeah.
So when you use it and you don't pay and you allow it to accumulate, we go to court, we win the case, just like any other business. If you can't pay, you have a lot of properties around the country. We sell some to offset the cost and give the money to our members.
Okay. I will find out from Sami and Ola. Over the period, the Kalosechi has been, at Gamro for a while. We had Kujunchi at a point as well. How would you rate Rex Omar with his performance so far?
I think Uncle Rex is doing so well. As a matter of fact, the education...
It's not because he's sitting here?
No, not because he's sitting here. I have been following his works over the years. And the education alone, the PR alone, because with Gamro, you guys were talking about why is it that the guys of today, why are they not at the helm of affairs at Gamro? No, they won't do it. They won't do it because they are now getting money from performances. They have monies coming from all the streaming platforms for them. They think they still have to write more to get some more money coming in. So why should they come and be sitting in an office as administrators when they have their songs banging? I'm sure it is something that will be what it is. When you are in your prime, Gumroad will not be of interest to you. It is only when you are not in your prime that music is really not bringing in much. Then you start looking for it. But I don't know if it is possible that people who are not direct musicians or artists can also come to that office. Because if that can be possible, then you leave the artists to do their show and we will have people as administrators who will now be working for them. Because talents are talent.
Okay.
There are some things you cannot push talents to do. They will not do it. And let me say something finally. Because we were talking about education of members of Gumroad, I would want every broadcaster, every person who interviews artists, if you meet any artist, please ask that question. Do you know the process of getting your works at Gumroad? If we can do that, we will help Anchoress and his people with education. He cannot do it alone. He can only come to TV3. He cannot go to any platform. But to us, we are always interviewing artists. So let's ask them, have you registered with Gumroad? Do you know the process at which you can get your songs there so you can get your royalties? If you can do that, we also help their job.
Okay, Ola, let me take your thoughts on the same question as well.
I will not ask any artist if they are registered with Gumroad.
You have to ask, Ola.
Bro, I know, but we are tired. We've asked, are we tired?
No, but still,
look, it has gotten to a point where you know this is your lifeline. Why are you sitting back to be forced to do the right thing? You understand? So me, I no go ask. We tired, they ask.
I get that. What would you say has been, you know, Rex's performance as Gumroad's chairman?
No, I cannot grade or rate his performance because he doesn't work in vacuum.
Okay.
It's a whole team.
Okay, so
So if they fail, they've all failed. But I can say for now that they've been better than the previous ones that we've seen. I think the Kojonchi's administration did very well, but you know he couldn't stand the harsh, you know, lyrical contents of his own people, so he had to stop. But Uncle Rex's team have also done well. But look, Gumroad is a very, very difficult place to be. It is not an easy place.
So what are your expectations?
I don't have expectations.
You don't have expectations of Gumroad?
The only thing I need to see is some of these young people getting themselves involved. Some of these loud mats getting themselves involved and not sitting on the fence. Charlie, the generation of Uncle Rex, I see a gap there. Maybe people don't pay attention to those things. Look, he asked a question. What if he's done and he's gone? Now you are going to have new people who have not studied the system going to occupy. Then they will take it all back. So there need to be a bridge between these two generations to have the thing running smoothly. You're talking Gumroad. Go to my house and see the debt.
Uncle Rex, what would be, you know, what do you want to be remembered for when you leave Gumroad?
Before I say that, I want to clear some impression. No artist is part of running Gumroad day to day. No. We have professionals who are running Gumroad day to day. But globally, because of some reasons, the artists or the right owners are always the policy board. Okay. You know why? Because we artists, we have our own, we live in our own world. Exactly. We are eccentric people.
Yeah, we frustrate you or you frustrate.
For example, you see, it takes me to understand Shatawale. Shatta can come there and shout, oh, Charlie, buy you to why? Then I can calm him down. Because we are eccentric people. We have to be emotional to be able to be artists, okay? So, for example, in terms of welfare.
So, we don't have time. What would you want to be remembered for?
Somebody who, at the prime of his career, sacrificed for everybody.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for being a part of today's show.